Let's kick off this list with shovel racing, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You get a shovel with an aluminum blade, often wax it for maximum speed, and then sit on it and go down a hill. It is similar to the luge in the fact that you lean back and have your feet pointed forward. However, anything can happen once that shovel gets going. These racers can travel in excess of 70 miles per hour and was deemed too dangerous even for the X Games after just a single year in 1997. Unicycle hockey seems like a good place to go next, and once again, it's exactly what it sounds like. Teams with 5 players face off on unicycles and play essentially floor hockey using a tennis ball. Unlike regular hockey, contact is not allowed, and there is no dedicated goalie, although a player usually hangs back to assume the role. There are 3 national unicycle hockey leagues in Australia, Germany, and Switzerland with a total of 117 teams combined. The World Championships take place at Unicon, a biennial unicycle convention which is held in various cities around the world. Chances are you might have seen the sport of caber toss, but maybe just never knew the name. This is a traditional Scottish event where a large tapered pole resembling a telephone pole is tossed. In this event, the distance thrown is not important, but the goal is to tumble end over end and land as straight as possible from the starting position. If you're lucky enough to be in Scotland during the Highland Games, I hear it is a wonderful festival, including games, music, and dance, among other things. As is the case with others, foot volleyball is pretty easy to figure out by the name, but this is nothing if not a crazy, fast-paced game with some serious talent. The sport based in Malaysia can and is played anywhere regular volleyball is played, including the beach. The skill level of the players is incredible, as the skill set of that of soccer or football with a ball that is much smaller and a whole different consistency. The modern game originated in 1960, dates back to the first recorded instances in the 15th century, although it is said to go back as far as 1500 years. This is one sport on this list that I would personally like to see in Olympic competition. The wife carrying competition is held annually in Finland and has very few rules. At a minimum, the woman being carried must weigh at least 49 kilograms, and if she is lighter, a rucksack will be worn to make up the difference. Races are run in pairs, with each acting as a heat, and the winner is the couple with the shortest time. There are 2 dry obstacles, usually a sand pit or a small obstacle to go over, and a pool roughly a meter deep, which can be an issue, as the women are generally carried upside down on the men's back, which would dunk their head into the water as they pass through. Traditionally, Finland and Estonia have dominated this competition. Underwater hockey is played in a swimming pool with 6 players, but the hardest part is that the players are not allowed to use any gear that will help them breathe underwater, such as scuba equipment, and must hold their breath. The puck is usually plastic covering over lead so that the weight will allow it to sink and stay on the bottom, as players use fins to propel themselves. The game is played worldwide and even has a world championship, which is held every 2 years. Australia holds the most championships at the elite level with both men's and women's competition, although New Zealand is the current champions. Cycle ball is essentially soccer played on bicycles in teams of 2. The bikes have no brakes, and you may only use the bicycle and your head to control the ball. This was actually first introduced in 1893, and the first World Championships were in 1929. The sport is popular across Europe and Japan, with the most successful duo being a pair of brothers from Czechoslovakia, who have 20 titles between them from 1965 to 1988. It was also featured at the 1989 World Games, as well as the 2005 and 2007 Asian Indoor Games. Personally, I think it looks like fun, but I don't have the balance for this one. It seems if you combine 2 loosely related activities, you can end up on this list, but in the case of chess boxing, that just isn't the case. These are about as opposite as you can get. Although the name gives you an idea of what is going on here, I'll explain a bit. The sport consists of a 3-minute boxing round, followed by a 1-minute chess round, and this repeats until someone is either knocked out or checkmated. There is also the possibility to win by decision in the boxing match if chess is a draw, or to lose on time in the chess portion. This all started with a comic book artist in 1992, which was then turned into a performance art piece. However, it has picked up steam from there and turned into a real sport. There are governing bodies as well as local federations worldwide. There was even a live YouTube event called the Mogul Chess Boxing Championship held in Los Angeles, which had, at its peak, as many as 315,000 people watching. How low can you go? Probably not as low as those who participate in limbo skating. That's right, it's limbo on roller skates, and it's like no other limbo contest I've ever seen before. You wouldn't think that requires much athleticism, but the body control and core strength needed for this must be off the charts. As you can see, the participants will get as low as possible, often in a full split leaning forward, almost touching the ground, and pass under the obstacle, be it a simple stick, a vehicle, or a plate of glass. Most of the records are held by young children, including a 7-year-old in India who limbo skated under 20 cars in just 14 seconds. Possibly the weirdest sport, at least to me not being from Japan where this originated, is boteoshi. I'm not even sure I pronounced that right, so my apologies if I didn't, but that's the least odd thing about it. 2 teams of 150 put a pole upright and split into 2 groups, 75 people to defend and 75 to attack the other team's pole. Each match lasts 2 minutes, and if neither pole is brought down past 30 degrees, it is a draw and played again. This is accomplished by any means necessary, including punching, kicking, pulling heads, strangling, or any other such roughness. The game is traditionally played by cadets at the National Defense Academy of Japan and started as a training exercise. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing as I try to put out a video like this at least once a week and shorter videos daily.